Just
All right, we're going.
starting. Sweet.
All right. So first, what's the first order of business?
First order of business. I can't decide between wanting to better understand the table of hero attributes, or getting a little snippet about each hero. You know.
Okay. Let's start with the attributes. That way we can have a little bit more insight on like when we go through the heroes. So do you want to talk about the difference between like an int, strength, and agi hero, or just about the attributes themselves?
About the attributes themselves, like when you can go to Dota Wiki and sort by lowest to highest, strength gain, intelligence
Oh,
gain,
okay. Like the heroes. Okay. So like how to parse. Like if you see, I don't know, like Axe has 2.4 strength gain. Like what does that actually mean for how you should play Axe?
Exactly. Like, does it like you were talking about the reason PL was so nerfed in the patch notes, which I've listened to a bunch, and you said he has shit agi game, which means it's really difficult for him to, like you said, come online
Yeah.
because of the shit agi game. But I look at it and it's a tiny difference, and I like, what does that mean?
Yeah, no. So the first thing you need to understand about Dota is there's so much shit that is happening, like literally fucking everything. There's just so much fucking crazy ass shit. But it's still so meticulously balanced that any push any one direction can send a hero like wildly out of whack. If you think about how many fights that you have that are decided, like most fights you have in Dota, you realize the other person is killing you faster than you're killing them, and you just get back. But if you just destroy that impulse and you just man fought like every single fight you got into, they would always be pretty close fights. Like the other person would be down to 10% almost every time. It's just you're aware that you die. That's why you back out every time, and they look like one-sided fights. So all it takes is a small shove to turn what would be like you at dead them at 10% into or rather an even fight turns into you at dead them at 10%. So even if all you're doing is making it so Phantom Lancer has, I don't know, 10 less agi at level 25, that is enough to actually push him out pretty decently. Like if a character has 5 less attack speed and 5 less damage at level 10, that's enough that when he goes on and starts right clicking someone, they're gonna be like, huh, this isn't like lethal damage. I can out damage him faster than he can kill me. So that's part of why agi gain or just stat gain in general is like such a big deal. Like PA, I think she went from like 1 point, what did she go from? It was like 1.7 or something to like 1.9. And as soon as that happened, I was like, yo, PA is tankier now. Holy shit. Like every fight on PA, I just barely would like die, or at least the way I was playing it. I'm not trying to get myself killed every time, but I always, if I ever died, it was because I was just barely, squishy enough to die. But any small push like that just makes a huge impact in Dota. That's why, like, even if you see a small nerf on a hero, they like fall out of the meta completely.
That makes a lot of sense. Like I feel like I was thinking stuff like that, but I didn't know how to like quantify it. But I guess
Yeah,
it's really hard to quantify it.
yeah.
Um,
One of the main things that helps me in figuring things out is just noticing like exactly how close every fight in Dota is, and the fact that most of your heuristics are built around like things that you see, and what you see when a fight happens is you see, oh god, they're killing me, I'm getting the fuck away, which makes it look like, oh man, every hero is so fucking much stronger than me when I'm losing. Like every fucking fight, I just die and they're at full health. But really, if you weren't trying to escape at all, you would end up in situations where like they killed you by a little bit, but you were like one nuke off killing them, like at most. So everything is really close. It's just that when you're dying, everything looks really, really imbalanced.
that's why I love Monkey King because dipshits will come and try and man fight you
Right,
without
and then you
even.
get the life steal, and you're like, I'm at full health now. Thank you. Yeah, I have not played an insignificant amount of Monkey King, or I guess I've played a good amount of him. Anyway, yeah, I don't want to talk about how I'm a Monkey King spammer, but a little bit.
Why not? Why not enjoy the
That's yeah. I
newbies?
mean, he was like made for me, honestly. But like I would much rather me pick the Monkey King than have someone pick the Monkey King against me, and then my team fights in the middle of his ultimate, and then we just fucking lose for no reason. Anyway, all right. So there are like a few heroes in particular that have like less stat gain than you would expect that I feel like might be remotely interesting. Like Axe actually has he has like 2.4 fucking strength gain or something. Like it's actually just really fucking low. Um And for like an agi hero, that's fine, but you're expecting to be like face tanking shit as Axe. But he actually just has almost or very little strength gain compared to other heroes. In general, I think if a hero doesn't have at least like three, or if you're not a slave to the Deca system, like 2.9 or 2.8, like if they have under 2.7 gain on their primary stat, you shouldn't really regard them as like, oh yeah, this guy's a strength hero. That means he has a ton of health. Like that's not necessarily true. Like even Axe only has, I think it's 2.4. No, it's 2.5. They may have changed it at some point. But yeah, like his strength thing isn't actually that good. So it's not like Sven where you just don't need to build health items. Axe still needs a ton of health items. Same thing with like Bristleback. I think he has like, what is it, 2.2? Yeah, it's 2.2. Um, it can be pretty brutal. If you just like are straight up looking at their primary attributes.
Jesus, Ogre Magi is a god, goddamn tank. I was looking at that. Yeah, I was noticing that the other day when I was looking. I was like, what the fuck?
It's pretty great,
That's why
honestly.
he's so brutal late game. If he
Yep.
gets enough stolen intelligence, he attacks so fucking fast.
Yeah. No, he's pretty fucking wild, honestly. All right, here we go. This should be good now. Perfect. Okay. All right. So any heroes that you want to like touch on? Because PL is a great one because he is actually super fucking shit in terms of his stacking now, which is like if you look at his nerfs, like go to his like change log on Dota 2 wiki or whatever. Like his primary nerf that he got was just like a huge nerf to his agi gain. Like or his original rework, he had like 4.0 agi gain, and then they reworked him down to like 3 or something like that. And then the last nerf on him was yeah, it went from 3 to 2.6, which is just fucking brutal. And so yes, I mean his only like if you look at Phantom Lancer, I don't know. I don't want to talk too much about Phantom Lancer because he just kind of sucks in general. But the hero itself, like the only damage that he really does, his illusions do almost zero damage. Most of his damage comes from his right click, and he has no right click steroid. He kind of does now from Phantom Rush, but literally nothing about him makes him right click better than a Crystal Maiden outside of his stat gain. And the fact that he spawns these illusions don't do shit for damage, but they do work off of diffusal. So like Phantom Lancer basically does zero damage as opposed to any other right clicker until he gets diffusal. And even once he does, he has like lower agi gain than a Vengeful Spirit. So that's part of why Phantom Lancer got phased out. Because I mean, you need all these items to stay tanky and to be in the middle of the fight. Because you're like he's like the reason that we have the word cancer for like oh man that hero is because he literally just grows like cancer in a fight. So you want to stay in it as long as possible. But he just doesn't do any fucking damage until he gets defusal, and then once he does, even that damage isn't that great. So that's why like the agi gain really did shit on him because that was his only like the only reason he was a decent right clicker was because he had 3.0 agi gain, but now he just doesn't.
That's insane. That point four, that 4/10 of a agi gain per level
Yeah,
so much.
and you have to remember that it's not just like these things don't exist in a vacuum, right? Like PL was already fighting for a slot in your team with Phantom Lancer or Phantom Assassin and Anti Mage and Juggernaut and Faceless Void and Drow, so and Slark. So if he it's not like he's wildly better than all the other carries. It's just that once that agi gain is gone, it's like well he wasn't that much worse than Terrorblade to begin with. Now I'll just pick Terrorblade.
Makes sense. No, I know nothing about Terrorblade. I just know
Yeah,
don't take my stupid mana. I gotta stun you before you. I mean health.
yeah,
Stun you before you take my health.
yeah. TB is yeah, Sunder is fucking wild. Just by the way, in case you didn't know, I wish that ability at least didn't go through Magic Immunity. Like that's pretty fucking absurd. I've had a lot of times where I'm like trying to kill Terrorblade and I get him low, and then I have to like I'm playing PA, so I have to like back up until my Abyssals off cooldown and shit. It's wild. Anyway,
Yeah, but at that point you'd have pretty low cooldown on your Phantom Strike, right?
yeah, so I'm just like I get him low, and then I back out, throw daggers while I'm out of range, and then once he's low enough, then you go back in. But it's still like if you just get stunned while you're killing him, he's like, oh okay, I'll just fucking take this, thank you. Yeah,
Yoink.
Yeah, Terrorblade is pretty gnarly. Not gonna lie.
But luckily, magical nukes, kick the kick the shit out of him.
Yeah, and his illusions, and you can do him from range, so he can't take your health. And yeah, and he's not that tanky. So I mean, he's not like a total terror right now, but just whenever he's strong, I'm very scared of him. All right. Anything else about primary attributes? I'm gonna get you your money's worth here.
No, no, that was a good blurb about just how
Okay.
to think about it in general. A lot of its feel is basically
A huge amount of there's so much data to parse, and a lot of it is feeling, honestly. Like you have to have like the baseline to know what kind of information to like.
sorry.
Yeah, you got to drill the information into your brain and have it like standard, and then after that it has to become just like automatic and stuff that you're not like actively thinking about. Which is why a lot of pros, when they like explain Dota to you, they're just like, oh, it's like this, and you're like, okay, why? And they're like, what are you, fucking stupid? It just is. And you're like, oh, okay, thank you, I guess.
Maybe I am stupid.
All right, so do you wanna go through the heroes now and get a little sense of all of them?
Yeah, I think that'd be the most valuable thing. And what my plan was is to like because I work doing records in a law office, so I can like just listen to stuff for a
For sure.
majority of my day. So just re-listening to this and like ingraining it, programming my brain
Yeah,
to when I see a hero.
yeah, you know how to react to them or whatever, what to expect out of it, for sure. Okay,
Yeah.
so do you want? So I feel like maybe the best way to do it, I'm just in Dota right now. I'm just gonna go through the heroes tab and just go from fucking top to bottom, like Abaddon, Alchemist, Axe, that kind of shit.
Yeah, yeah, just like the patch notes.
Okay, sure. All right. So Abaddon, tanky fights. He's good against aggro dual lanes. As a solo offlaner, one of his main attributes that you focus on is the fact that he can dispel stuns. So if you're dealing with Marana Arrow or Bane Fiend's Grip, he can dispel shit like that. And beyond that, he's just tanky but provides no control. And then, all right, so is that good? Is that the kind of format we're looking at?
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
Okay, all right. So then, Alchemist, mid hero, generates a lot of net worth. If you fall behind at all, he just fucking falls off completely. He survives by gaining a lot of health, and he has very low armor. So if you have anything to counter health gain, like Ancient Apparition, or anything to counter armor, like Slardar, he just fucking dies. Axe Blade Mail, if you have anyone who's squishy but outputs a lot of damage and relies on momentum, Axe will stop them in their fucking tracks. And he's really good against any mostly melee tri lane, and he jungles pretty quickly. But mostly blink in, kills anyone who's relatively squishy that outputs a lot of damage, like a Phantom Assassin. Beastmaster, he has flying vision. He's specifically good against people who rely on magic immunity. And he augments push teams very well, and is one of the only people who can buy a Necro book and you're still afraid of it. But mostly the vision is a huge deal, and countering magic immunity. Brewmaster, mostly mid, relatively tanky. He has a shit ton of team fight control, but it's very cooldown reliant, and he can kind of be a right clicker now a little bit, but that's some kind of unknown territory. But for the most part, a shit ton of AOE control. Good against guys who have no interest in building Monkey King bar, but mostly it's just tanky and AoE control on a cooldown. Bristleback, pretty tanky, good at long drawn out fights, terribly afraid of a Silver Edge, and needs to build enough tank, enough health and shit that he can survive a Silver Edge, and after that he can go buck stupid. He fits with minus armor a bit. Centaur, once again, we're dealing with strength heroes. Very tanky. He's got a decent stun. He has great initiation, both through Blink Dagger and Stampede. Natural pipe builder, and has a lot of magic burst built into him. He can scale relatively late, even though it doesn't look like he can. He's a good safe laner on a kind of push team, or just as a tanky off laner. Uh,
So if he was in the safe lane, would he be a core or a
Yep.
support?
Yep, he would be a core. I have played a decent amount of Safe Lane Centaur. One thing to note is his return does work on towers. So if you just have him tanking a tower, which you can do by like right clicking an enemy hero on the map while you're hitting a tower, the tower will basically evaporate in seconds.
Damn.
Yeah, that was the strat. It used to work on illusions too. So like one strat Alliance did was, and then everyone basically is they would just disrupt a centaur and then just send the illusions at a tower, and the tower would just die from hitting this fucking centaur illusions.
That's actually kind of lame.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty lame. When we played centaur, that was like the plan, but we just kind of never did it, and I just face killed the towers anyway. So even though that's gone, you can still play centaur core, and it's pretty strong. Um, so do you want to go on about centaur?
Oh no, I was just saying. I think Centaur is a hero I want to focus on because I'm super low MMR. So I think
He's really good.
he would destroy like, the stupid stacks that I would go up against.
Yeah, in one of the games I played recently in ranked, I ran into this guy who was spamming centaur, who was really cool. He opted for the plus 30 damage at level 10 instead of the 2 mana regen, which is statistically favored. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, the damage is good. He has huge strength. Like, he has like 4.0 strength gain or something like that. Like, fucking absurd.
Yeah, he was the top of the list. It's
Yep.
crazy.
Yeah, so much strength. His old ultimate used to be like he gained. It was kind of like Drow, where he would just gain a huge amount of strength, or instead of Agi, so he would just gain like 15 strength at level 16, and then like 30 and 45 or something like that. So they removed that and gave him Stampede, and then they baked that strength gain just straight into him. So that's he's kind of strong because they just turned his ultimate into his stat gain, and then gave him another ultimate. So he's still feeling some reverberations off that being good. Yeah, right. And there was a
That's
time where that
crazy.
ultimate was yeah. He's but I mean he still has his own issues. Like you don't want to be there's something that people used to talk about called like centaur complex, where you're very tanky, but they can just ignore you, and then like oh my return doesn't do anything if they don't hit me. But if you go these kind of more like offensive builds, like you just use double edge basically on cooldown because it's a 400 damage nuke every 5 seconds, and if you have a pipe, it doesn't actually hit you back that hard. But yeah, you get like 1 point hoof stomp, 1 point return, a bunch of double edge, and you just double edge the fuck out of people, and then build like pipe and then vanguard and blink and that sort of thing, and then eventually they have to pay attention to you. And then stampede is obviously really good, but it does require some map awareness to use in a pub.
Oh yeah, I actually that's my biggest fear of using it. That this ability in a pub, it'd be like they're not gonna use it at all.
Well, once you hit 16, it's every minute or 18. It's still fucking with me. Once you hit 18, it's every minute. So you just kind of get it whenever. And also, it's just like, oh, I want to run away. Ooh, I have Stampede, and then everyone gets out scot free. So that's another reason it's good in pubs. Is people in pubs fucking attack at the wrong times every goddamn opportunity.
Yeah,
So if you have Stampede, like get out, and then you Stampede, they're like, oh, okay, this is my
it's like
get
a
out time.
built-in back button.
Yep. And of course, you have your B key bound to say "get back," like all good Dota players.
I still have it on the wheel.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll deal with that later. All right. So CK, we can go back to other heroes, but I just want to get through the list ASAP. So
Yeah,
CK, he can actually be both a roaming like ganking support and a core, but he's very stat heavy. Going strength on him is absurdly good for Phantasm. His main strength is fighting. He can be a safe laner, but he doesn't farm that well. I play a lot of Chaos Knight, and it fit very well with the way Hakuna Murana played. And you just try to fight all the time. It's really good now, especially because you have the fountains, the little sanctuary things. But in general, you just want to get like your treads, your armlet, your echo saber, and you just want to fucking kill people, just all the time. Just fucking kill everyone you see. And your armlet will give you a lot of HP regen, but not enough. So that's why you have the sanctuaries. And your Echo Saber will give you enough mana regen. But you just keep going around, kill motherfuckers. As soon as you have like a big bank of gold, just fucking go for the heart. As soon as you get heart, you shit on everyone as Chaos Knight. So that's kind of your aim. It's like armlet. You can go armlet Echo heart. That's honestly a build I've done plenty of times, and it's really fucking good. And you want your illusion base, so you do want to get your Manta style eventually. But you know, if you're fighting every time Phantasm is up and killing people otherwise, you know, just get the fucking heart and get Manta style afterwards. That way you can, you know, be offensive without your ultimate all the time. Clockwork, he gets in there and he just fucking and anyone that needs to walk places to get anything accomplished, Clockwork fucks him up. Sven fucking hates Clockwork. Yes, you can BKB so the cogs don't push you around, but if Sven is trying to kill a motherfucker and then Clockwork comes in and there's some cogs in the middle of shit, completely disrupted. So anyone like Ursa, Sven, um,
Oh, man fighters.
yeah, and man fighters or just anyone who who just wants to get next to or who their main way to get to their enemies is to walk at them. Like Bloodseeker doesn't have a way to get to someone without walking at them, but like Phantom Assassin can. Luna, even though she's ranged, she's pretty low range, so she has to walk to the people she's trying to kill. Luna also hates a Clockwork. Drow, kind of, she has absurd range, so it's not that big a deal. But like Life Stealer hates it. Lycan, not a big fan. Um, Tiny, kind of, he has blink, but yeah, and like Wraith King fucking hates it. But yeah, so and anyone who's trying to get who would have a big issue if there was a fucking wall between them and the other person. Clockwork is fucking great against. Um, and also anyone who doesn't want to get gapped closed in on them. Clockwork is a bit more of a counter pick, but he's honestly good in almost any situation. He's also very good against melee, of course, because he has battery assault. And anyone who has like a long wind up, so like if you're against Earthshaker, Clockwork's pretty much a hard counter. Also gives a lot of vision. Clockwork's not quite a simpler hero, but in general, gets up in your shit, stops you from moving. So if anyone who doesn't want anyone in their shit, or anyone who really enjoys moving, Clockwork's great against them. Doom, not that great, but if it's really difficult to kill people because of their ability to just avoid literally everything, Doom is a good pick. Whether it be Storm or Ember Spirit, guys who just try to get the fuck out of there and that you cannot pin down, Doom is a decent answer to them. Disruptor is almost always better, but Doom is a core, not a support. So there's a kind of difference. He's also very tanky and can fulfill your offlaner role. So if you need hard lockdown on one individual person, Doom is great. If you need it on like a bunch, like let's say they have Storm and Ember Spirit, Doom may not be the play. I love Doom. I've played a shit ton of Doom in my life, but he's not that great. I'm gonna be honest with you. But
I
specifically,
hate
yeah, there we go.
I hate seeing a Doom in my MMR. They never know what they're doing. It's
Yeah,
like, oh, you cast your ultimate. Great. What else did you do?
yeah. No, he. I mean, when I played Doom, it was back when I went like phase Bassy Drum Radiance, and I would just have Radiance burn and Scorched Earth and running motherfuckers down with like an Alpha Wolf, and it was incredible and super fun. But that Doom is gone, so I kind of hate him now. That was also when I was not as good, so that's why I built Radiance. But it was super fun, so fuck it. Okay, Dragon Knight. He will never get forced out of lane. Nice and tanky. Uh, he's kind of a team fight anchor. And if you're not sure what an anchor really means, it's exactly what it sounds like. If you want a fight to happen, he will hold you in place and he will say like, "This is our fucking territory. We are going to fight here." And we can't be very easily just toppled over by getting run over. So he's a nice team fight anchor. He will not win lane, but he will not lose it. And he helps you push at a nice tempo, and he actually does scale now, which is really cool. He also has incredible single target lockdown. If you're against a Storm Spirit or something, like kind of what you would want a Doom against, Dragon Knight also does very well. Dragon Tail is like a 3.25 second stun on a 9-second cooldown once it's maxed. Incredible. So Dragon Knight pushing, doesn't lose lane easily. He's good against lane dominators, except for Razor, because he's melee, it's going to suck. And he actually does scale pretty decently as a right clicker, but he's kind of your oh no, we have no tank on our team and no lockdown, and we're gonna lose mid. What do we pick? Fucking Dragon Knight. Earth Spirit, very difficult. He has every kind of lockdown in a small amount, and he's got a good amount of AoE teamfight damage. So if you say, okay, my team has no damage and no control, Earth Spirit's a pretty good person to look up. But what you normally are going to expect from him is he will get up in your shit and he will both silence and stun you briefly. So the way you counter him is you just have, honestly, BKBs is just the best way. He can't do shit to someone who's BKB'd. You want a little bit of lockdown and just enough tank to kind of deal with his initial spew of bullshit. Earthshaker, hella fucking stuns. He has a long cast point though, so disables are great against him. You need a BKB to deal with this guy. No way around it. But if the enemy team is again a team that likes to move around and needs to be kind of uncontested in what they're doing. Like when I play Lone Druid, he has fucking AoE stuns. Like both my units get stunned every fucking time. I hate it. But Earthshaker in general, fucking a lot of AoE stuns, a lot of AoE control. If that's what you need, Earthshaker's great. You can combo him with so there's this concept that I talk a lot about every team can only really support one do nothing hero. And a do nothing hero is a hero that doesn't supply like any particular lockdown or it just doesn't like fill any particular niche in your team. Like Ancient Apparition, AA doesn't do anything. At least nothing at a baseline. Venomancer doesn't really do anything. At least as a support and all that. But obviously they do things, just not like, oh man, on our team right now, we need someone to fill the Ancient Apparition slot. Like that's not a thing. Like, you know, it's like, oh man, we need fucking our team isn't rounded out. It doesn't have Ancient Apparition. Like that's nothing
We need
anyone has ever said.
we need a sock.
Yeah, it's just not. He's just that's not. This is no. Like Ancient Apparition is like a counterpick to Alchemist and a good combo with other heroes, but in a vacuum, he doesn't do shit. But if you have Ancient Apparition and someone like Earthshaker who supplies like damage and fucking AOE stuns, but he's not great at like lane controlling and all that sort of thing when Ancient Apparition is like you can combo Earthshaker Venomancer was a support duo that I ran a lot with my college team. Earthshaker Ancient Apparition is great. Earthshaker is great to pair with like a do nothing hero. As long as they can kind of help him in the fact that he can't fucking win a lane for you at all. So that's Shaker. I do really like the idea of a right click Shaker right now. Honestly, getting the like +8 strength and 50 damage, and then like the respawn time and -2 seconds enchant totem cooldown. Just fucking kill people with that. It like works off your base damage, so the 50 damage isn't that great, but get a bunch of strength on you. Just keep hitting enchant totem, punching people. It's good. It's a good thing. It's a lot of fun.
I mean that's a consistent area stun. That's crazy.
It's really good, and the damage is honestly super solid. Like enchant totem, 400% damage. So like let's say you have 100, like even if you only have 100 base damage, which you're gonna have more than because you're a shaker. Every time you press W, your next right click's doing 500 fucking damage. Like that's a shit ton.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so Elder Titan, a lot of AOE damage, a little bit of disruption. But one of his main attributes is that he reduces people's base armor to 0. So if you take a hero like Terrorblade, who almost all of his armor just comes from his agility gain and his base armor, Anti Mage, Phantom Assassin, Phantom Lancer, Luna, these heroes that don't build plus armor items. Luna used to with Helm of the Dominator, but not anymore because that's kind of gone now. That doesn't have armor on it. Neither does Satanic. But any hero that's almost all base armor, Elder Titan is a fantastic counter to. He also augments magic damage, that sort of thing. He's just really fucking good in general. He doesn't have hard lockdown, but I hate him, and he's very strong. So the niche is if you have mostly base armor, Elder Titan's gonna fuck you up. And he also does a lot of AoE control and a lot of AoE damage. So you need to be careful 5-manning against him. Huskar, I mean, he's Huskar. He's gonna get in your shit, and he is not gonna die. You need a lot of physical damage or pure damage to kill him. And that's all I got to say about that. Axe is fantastic against him.
Yeah, I was gonna say Culling Blade would be nice.
Yeah, even with the shallow grave, he's still fucking gone. I mean, I don't need to
Yeah.
explain Huskar to you. He's pretty. He jumps at you and you get the idea pretty fucking quick.
I'm
Uh,
on fire.
you are on fire, and the lane sucks, and then late game, everything sucks. Wisp. Wisp works really well with when you have a lot of regen going on. Wisp just takes one hero and fucking amps them up to 11. That's pretty much it. Don't worry about Wisp. Is really all I gotta say. Don't worry about it. Wisp is hard,
Yeah,
and you don't have to deal with it.
whenever I do see Wisp, yeah, whenever I do see Wisp, they're awful, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so we won't worry about Wisp for now. Kunkka, a lot of AoE control. Not that dangerous until it becomes late game. Pretty much every time I'm against the Kunkka, I want to pick a hero that can counter X marks the spot. And what that means is a hero like Lifestealer or Juggernaut, where I get X'd and I can just walk away and just press Q, It's Q for both of them, and I just get the free magic immunity. So X marks the spot. Really good at catching people out, but if you have anything that's built in magic immunity or a BKB or whatever, that's you want to get that pretty quickly. Other than that, you need to be five manning pretty hard to make it so you don't just get caught out. It's very similar to a glimpse, um, almost the same honestly to a glimpse, but you want a hero who can almost immediately say like have a get out of jail free button. Like Puck is really good. Like let's say you X Puck, and then Puck immediately just presses phase shift. You'll dodge everything as soon as the stuns go off and everything. Same with OD. You can astral yourself as soon as the X is about to go off, and even if it does move your position, you won't take damage from the stun that he set up and all that. So just you want some kind of hero who has a backup mechanic. And Kunkka specifically, you want anyone who's trying to like get the fuck away from you. Kunkka is a great pick against, and he does have a lot of AoE control. Late game he'll scale, so you got to watch out for going too late game against a Kunkka. But yeah, it's mostly just a ton of AoE, a lot of AoE damage, a lot of AoE control, and a lot of setup. Legion Commander, single target lockdown. Um, but mostly catching people out. So you have a huge interest in catching individuals on their own with Legion. But in terms of team fight, she also can dispel stuns similar to Abaddon. So if you're against Marana Arrow, Abaddon or Legion Commanders is a great pick. And also has a decent amount of AoE damage. So she has a good amount of team fight presence. But you want a team that can sort of like break up a team fight really quickly. So let's say you have a Lich. Lich drops his ulti, they all scatter, and then Legion Commander's isolation capabilities. You drop an overwhelming odds, like, oh shit, we all took a bunch of damage, and Lich ulti comes out, everyone wants to fucking spread, and then Legion Commander can catch out one of the isolated people with duel. So in general, you need to be worried about not being S5, and you need to be worried about your ability to be broken up as 5. Also, Lincoln's is really good against her. So oftentimes you see an Abyssal on Legion Commander. That way, she blinks on someone, casts. There we go. Casts Abyssal to break a Lincoln's, and then gets the duel off. And you want to get to 25 on this hero now because not enough that you're going to get 15% XP gain, but plus 40 duel damage is pretty fucking good.
Hi,
See,
I get 60 damage every time I kill you.
it's pretty fun. Yeah, I was playing with Scrunk and he was just like, I think we had like plus 400 damage or something. It was like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Life Stealer gets up in your shit. He's got magic immunity. If you're someone like Crystal Maiden who you have lockdown, but people can cast things afterwards, Crystal Maiden, terrified of a Life Stealer, of a Juggernaut, of a Slark, anyone who can cast it after you use your lockdown spell. But yeah, he can just run at you, and he's a good man fighter. But you need to worry about anyone who can man fight better than you, be that Sven or Ursa. Lifestealer is still going to be terrified. Really good against high HP, low armor people. So Alchemist, Pudge. Although Pudge can lock you down. A lot of Pudge players will say, "Oh no, it's fine. I can just ulti when he rages." But when I'm Lifestealer, I'm like, "No, it's fine. I'll just kill him the second I see him." So it can be kind of double edged there. But yeah, any team that's very reliant on magic damage or lockdown that you can react to, Lifestealer is fantastic for. Also, Infest Bombs. Infest does 400 magic damage once you have it maxed, which is a shit ton. Like, that's more than a casual nuke. So think of Lifestealer, when I'm killing people on Lifestealer, I'll like do whatever damage to them, and then they're running away. And once they get out of range, I just infest and pop out real quick. Normally that's enough to kill someone. So think about that too. Like, oh no, I'm getting away from him, but he may be able to just pop inside a creep and fucking blow me up. Side note, that's really cool. If you open wounds a target, you gain health off of the damage you do to them. And if you infest in an enemy, if you open wounds a target and then you infest and pop out, the way it works is you do basically the enemy's entire health pool to kill them. And then you will also lifesteal not only off in popping out of them with infest, but you will lifesteal off of the damage that infest did to that target. So like if you infest in a 400 health melee creep or whatever, and then you pop out, you will gain the 50% life leech on the kill, so you gain 200 health, and then the health you gain from infesting out, so 400 health. So you gain 600 health if you open wounds and then infest on a target. It's a little side note if you didn't know that. It's a cool little trick that I don't see anyone ever do. So that's very fun and really fucking broken, honestly. Lycan, push, obviously, but one of his main attributes is he will run the fuck at you and no slow will stop him. So like I pick Lycan against Sniper a lot Because Sniper's big thing is, oh, he'll headshot you and have
Yeah,
shrapnel and you can't get through it. But Lycan don't give a fuck. He will
yeah.
just push through everything. It's like fucking Iron Maiden the Trooper. Like, he will just fucking go. Um, yeah, so that's one of the things I like Lycan for. Also, absurdly good scouting and really fast farm if you know how to do it, but it's very skill dependent. Also noteworthy now, Howl will heal motherfuckers. I don't know why, it just does now, which is
Because they're
dumb.
getting pumped.
Yeah, because they're like, yeah, I don't want to die. He Howl, I don't know. It's really good. Feral Impulse also makes him a really good solo laner. If you get like a one of the things my team was doing when I was trying out Lycan is I would just like lane solo somewhere and I would just get 2 points in Feral Impulse at 3 and I just had +4 bonus HP regen and I could 1v1 anyone. So Lycan is a really good 1v1 laner now with that passive regen from Feral Impulse. Wolves are good, but you don't really want to max them because they're not good until they're maxed. So normally I'm like 2 points Feral Impulse, and then like I'm kind of maxing Howl, and then once I've got like a few points in each of them, I'm like, okay, time for Summon Wolves. The laning stage is over. I don't Not every one of my skill points is necessary. Okay, yeah, that's good. Magnus, actually a really good right clicker now. Mostly mid or off lane. But you can build him very right clicky. Wombo combo potential. You want to pair him with motherfuckers who can take advantage of Empower. Be that a lot of people who like want a Battle Fury but don't really have too much interest in building them. Like Juggernaut loves Battle Fury, and Juggernaut does build Battle Fury sometimes, but mostly he just wants one. So you give him Empower. Phantom Assassin also loves Battle Fury, doesn't have the time to build one. Empower, great on them. So someone who can get a bonus from the Empower, and someone who makes a great advantage of like a lot of AoE wombo combo. And Magic Community Piercing too. Night Stalker, fucking hella vision. Really great silence. And a great ability to just like hunt motherfuckers. So basically, if you're small and squishy and your only defense is a spell, Night Stalker is your mortal enemy. Uh, Omni Knight, if reactionary magic immunity is good, like let's say against a like a Kunkka or Disruptor, if someone's getting glimpsed or X'd, repel. Any man fighter who's gonna get in the middle of shit, like if an axe blink calls and then you purification on top of them, incredible. If the enemy team is relegated to only one kind of damage, like if they only have magic damage or they only have physical, Omninate is great against them. If it's someone like a Queen of Pain who does both physical and magical and has an ultimate that goes through, like her ultimate goes through magic immunity, and Guardian Angel, of course. Omni Knight not quite as good against it, so you kind of got to be worried a little bit. But also, like if the enemy team is focused on one sort of damage, Omni Knight is incredible. He's just overpowered in general, so just pick him. Um,
The
Phoenix,
the problem is when I do pick them, like people don't know how to work with them.
yeah, yeah.
It's at my MMR, because I'm very, very low. So it's just like, oh, I hate you, Omni Knight. No one appreciates you. No one understands you.
Yeah, ideally, at some point you get to the point where he's just like the idiot saver. Like these people are so fucking stupid, but my Omni Knight can offset how dumb they are, so their stupid ass dives eventually start working. But his range has been pretty nerfed that it's kind of hard to play. Like, oh shit, there's an idiot across the map, I gotta go save. It's more like, oh man, my friend that I'm aware of what he's doing, so I can plan around him. So it's a little harder to save idiots on him now, but still possible. Omni Knight is one of my most played supports. I love him to death, honestly. But yeah. Does he have a damage talent? Yeah, he has plus 100 damage. Man, I want to play this hero right now. Okay. Um, Phoenix, AoE damage, a little bit control oriented, but mostly Phoenix is for the wombo combo and actually has very good healing. But in general, AoE damage, it's good if the enemy team doesn't have specific counter picks. Like if they don't have a Juggernaut, because Juggernaut can press Q, not have his attack speed slowed, and be magic immune, and still right click your Supernova. So as long as you're not against something like that, Phoenix is always good. But in general, Phoenix is just gonna tick you down, do a shit ton of AoE damage, and just be in general like obnoxious if you don't have lockdown for. Pudka, he's Pudge. He throws hooks. He has low armor, so beware of like that, like a Slardar or whatever. But in general, he's just gonna he's Pudge. Sand King, best hero in the game, insane amount of AoE damage, beats every melee laner. His stun is fucking unreal. It only says it does 280 damage. That's wrong. It does 600. I don't know how it does though. Caustic Finale, really good against illusions. Sandstorm, he's very evasive. Honestly, best hero in the game. Sand King. Pick him every fucking time. Gets up in your shit, and you cannot do fucking jack about it. And he has fucking a 3 million damage ultimate. He's incredible. Sand King, what a fucking hero. Slaughter gets up in your shit, minus armor. There we go. Really good against like Lifestealer and shit. Because he just anyone who is dependent upon being tanky to do their job, Slaughter fucks. Like if Axe comes in and then you amp damage him, Axe is fucking dead. If Lifestealer comes in and he's man fighting you, Lifestealer is fucking dead. Fucking Lone Druid's bear comes in, oh my bear is supposed to be tanky. No, it's just fucking dead. Yeah, so that's Slaughter. Spirit Breaker, damage through magic immunity and charges mid. Or not damage through magic immunity, stuns through magic immunity, and he charges mid. If there's any team comp that's relatively thin, like they can't deal with a fucking train running through them, like if you just envision any team as like a fucking village, and like I don't know, you have a team that's like a bunch of squishy ass motherfuckers, and then you're like, hey, what would happen if like I don't know, a train went through this town? Like it would be flattened in a fucking second. But if you have like a fucking steelworks town, like they can probably survive the fucking like a bunch of strength heroes, they can survive the breaker. But most, you just fucking run a train through it, they're fucked. That's Spirit Breaker. He's the train. And if they have magic immunity, that they're like, oh man, I'm life stealer, man. I have magic immunity. Spirit Breaker don't give a shit. Sven, he big. He do AOE, and he's just kind of the ultimate man fighter. If you want someone to do shock and awe damage in a team fight, that is Sven. If you want that out of your carry, that's Sven. He also has lockdown, so it's good on that. But he doesn't fight that well very early unless you're like super fucking good at him. So he needs a little bit of time, but he will fucking kill everyone. Tidehunter, very cooldown reliant, but he will win you a team fight every so often for free. But very cooldown reliant. If the game looks skirmishy, Tide sucks. If the game looks like you just need someone tanky and you need a free team fight every so often, Tidehunter. Timbersaw, decently tanky in a laning phase, but if you ever are putting out more damage than he can tank out, he immediately falls off. So it's a kind of like delicate knife fight between I'm Timbersaw and I'm fucking dead. So you gotta just be a little bit. He's one of those heroes that wants to basically always live in an equilibrium. Like you want them to do enough damage that you don't die, but not so little damage that they just like that you're not taking advantage of how tanky you are. So you kind of want to live in that like kind of liminal space. And he does a ton of AoE damage. No control, ton of AoE damage. Specifically counters strength heroes with Whirling Death. Tiny, big burst damage. He may be a big tanky strength hero, but he's actually absurdly squishy. And he needs a ton of items. So against Tiny, just don't give him a good start. Don't be squishy. Don't let it be so he can pick someone out and then just, like what Tiny wants is he wants to blink in, pick someone off, walk the fuck away. You do not want him to be able to do that. So even if you have like an Ogre Magi, so maybe they blink in and he bursts your Crystal Maiden, but then you drop an Ignite on him and he has to limp away, you will kill him every fucking time. Tiny's absurdly squishy and can't do shit when you regress on him. Treant Protector, invisible, walks around, disrupts things, heals your towers up. You don't want to be split pushing against Treant Protector. You want to be fucking like 5-manning and do some shit that he cannot handle. You need to win early against Tree, kill his towers early, and have at least some vision. So at low levels, he's gonna be a fucking terror. Tusk gets up in your shit, has a stun through magic immunity, and just has like a burst. Like, okay, I'm in there, I'm fucking doing shit. But after about 4 seconds, he falls off. So as long as you're not gonna get burst, you're okay. But for the most part, gets up in your shit, AoE or magic immunity piercing stun, and you need a way to disengage. He can also block you off for like a 4-staff or a Slark pounce or a blink. Really good against him. Underlord, a ton of AoE damage. Really good at counter pushing, and just in general, kind of an anchor in a team fight. Very similar to Dragon Knight. He's got okay lockdown, but mostly it's just a ton of AoE damage, and if a fight drags out, he'll do really well. Undying, early game control, or not control, early game dominance. He can basically win against any dual lane, in any side lane he goes to, he will win. And you need someone that can deal with Tombstone well. So like a Juggernaut pressing Q and then he's spinning and he can still hit the tombstone. A really good ranged hero like Sniper or Drow or something like that. You just need someone that can deal with the tombstone. He's really bad against a wand. If he ever saps a bunch of strength from you, if you use a Tango, like something that uses flat health regen, will heal you up really high percentage wise. Like if he gets you down to 300 health, like 300 max health, and then you use a wand that gives you like 40 health. Once you get all your strength back, and you go up to 600 health again. It'll be as though that wand gave you 80 health. So anything that can get your health pool refilled when it's very low, once you get your health back, you'll be back at full health, and it'll have countered for more. Um,
That's an incredible mechanic.
yeah, so wand is really good against him. Like he decays you like 4 times. You have 5 wand charges. Use it. You gain like how much is that? Like 75 health. And then you gain back 100%. Let's say he decayed you down to 300, and you have 600, and you would have 600 once decay comes out. You gain 75 health. Your health comes back. You keep your percentage health. So if it refilled you 75 health back to full, and then you gain your health back, and it effectively gave you back 150 health. So yeah, that's
No,
like yeah, like
no, but it's an insane like built-in subtle counter to his own
yep.
stealing thing. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. This I mean, Dota's filled with shit like that. Like do you know how to tread swap? Like is that a concept that you're aware of?
I'm aware of, I just don't do it.
Okay, all right, but you do get how like you use a spell when your mana pool is like bigger, and then you
Is
switch.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I mean the health works the same way. Any flat regen like that, you want to use like you want to bottle when you have a very low mana pool. That way you gain more health, or you gain more mana and more health. And then when you like pick up your items again, you'll keep the same percentage health. Just the numbers will be bigger.
Yeah, no, that's crazy how that works with
Same thing with
Undying.
the sanctuary, the shrine or whatever it is. The fountain gives you percent regen. The sanctuary gives you actually I think it's flat. So like if you just drop all your items in your sanctuary, you'll like heal up to full, and then you pick them back up. Whereas if you had them before, maybe it would only get you to like 75%. So like stat manipulation like that, it's great. Okay, Wraith King, bad against mana burn. Obviously great against any very cooldown reliant teams. Like he was a great counter to Faceless Void. Like a Faceless Void is going to drop Chronosphere and kill your carry. Wraith King doesn't give a shit because he just comes back and now your Chronosphere is gone. That's what it's called, right? Yeah, Chronosphere. Wait, is that it? Holy shit.
Mhm.
Okay, that sounds weird. Okay, Anti Mage. Very evasive, good at burning mana. If a game looks kind of strange, but you just need some carry that can. You just need someone who through items would be able to carry a game. Like let's say they don't scale that well and they don't deal with late game that well. Anti Mage will get you there. Uh, Split pushing, but it's mostly just that he has good. The mana burning capabilities are great, and he's really good as a counter pick. But also, if they have no real good lockdown for him and he counters their offlaner, he's a really good pick. Arc Warden, insane area control. Can scale very well, but he's terrible if you ever get in his shit. So if you have someone like a Clockwork or a Spirit Breaker, someone who can just charge through his array of mines, he will just fucking crumble. Just get up in Arc Warden shit and he's done. And I play a bunch of Arc Wardens, so I know that from experience. Bloodseeker, he's a good counter pick to people that like being low on health, like Slark and stuff, and anyone who wants to move around a lot, or relies on magic immunity to move around a lot. So like Lifestealer. Lifestealer wants to move around a shit ton and relies on magic immunity. You rupture a Lifestealer, he's fucking done. Same thing with his Sven. Not Luna. Specifically, Luna is my counter to Bloodseeker because he ruptures me. I press R and he's like, "Oh shit, I didn't want to fight this at all." And Luna can just sit there and hit whatever the fuck's near her, and then the Glaives will do everything for her. But that's a little side note. If you're against a Bloodseeker and you want to specifically counter them, pick Luna. Luna's fantastic.
Luna is like a low MMR counter for almost everybody because they don't know what to
And
do.
high MMR. She's really fucking good. One of the things I like to do is I go on Dota Buff and I check what the best win rates are because I mostly play carry. I play a lot of mid now, but I mostly play carry, and I just see like okay, so like what carries are actually winning, and it's really none of them. No carries ever win at 5K plus. They're all like maybe 51% at most, but everyone that's like the highest win rate is not a carry except for Luna. So I'm like okay, Luna has like a 56 win rate. Next highest carry is like a fucking Slark with 50.4. Like I'm gonna pick Luna here. Drow used to be too, but Drow's fallen off a lot.
Well,
Bounty. Sorry, go on.
well, just one thing about Luna. It's crazy how she's both crazy magic and crazy right click and crazy armor, and the only thing she lacks is spell resistance, like inherently, is what it seems
Yeah,
like.
yeah, she has good armor from the Agi gain. Yeah, and she has a ton of physical damage. What the interesting thing to note is that it's not single target physical. It can be if you have things to bounce off of, but if you just 1v1 someone, like you're gonna lose. But if you 2v1 someone, or if you 1v2 someone, you can kill both of them just because of the way glaives work. Um,
Okay, yeah.
but yeah, like Lucent Beam, yeah, that's one of the things I like about her is she's a really good carry to start with because she can always participate some amount of damage with Lucent Beam and Eclipse early on. And then once it gets late game, like Moonglave's incredible. Um, Notable the 25 talent -4 Lucent Beam cooldown. I love it. It's awful. Never get that. It feels really cool, but it's so fucking bad. Just get the 15 stats. It's tragic, but it's true. Even if you go Ags like with the +40 like Lucent Beam damage talent, like just it's so bad. Okay, Bounty Hunter. Um, he's a do nothing hero. You need another support that can do all the supporty things for you. Not Earthshaker specifically, because Earthshaker's not going to win you your safe lane. Neither is Bounty Hunter. Uh, but you need a hero like a Disruptor or a Lion or a Vengeful Spirit. Someone to fucking do everything for you, because Bounty Hunter isn't going to do shit. But he roams, he makes mid lane miserable, he fucks up junglers, and he's good against invis people. And his level 25 talent is fun as shit. So if the game looks like it's gonna go late, get that. Or just like aim for just pick Bounty Hunter and just one day, man, you'll just get that talent. It's so fun. Broodmother, off laner who's or just solo laner in general, who's just really good if the enemy team doesn't have a nice spammable AOE spell. And that's really all I got to say about that. If they don't have a good AOE spell in their safe lane, you pick Brood, you win. Or not, or the game goes late and you lose anyways. Clinks, heavy push, heavy single target damage, relatively squishy, total assassin node. Always get Deso on this motherfucker. He's great in a minus armor team. And he's really just like a pick off hero. He doesn't farm that well, and he does do interesting combos with, like Chens and that sort of thing. But for the most part, it's just a ranged carry that does a lot of damage and doesn't like to get engaged on. Positioning super important on him, but he's mostly just like a ton of damage, and you have to be really cognizant of your tempo because you want to get a death pact off before any fight happens. And he's difficult. Don't play Clinks. He's hard. I play a lot of Clinks, and he's just not that good, but he's very rewarding if he ever wins. Drow, you play Drow in a Drow team. She does a ton of single target damage. Her positioning is absurdly important. The way you skill her is relatively dynamic. But the main thing is you need the Dragonlance on her, and then Shadow Blade is great because your positioning is so important, and you're going to be on the outskirts of a fight. It's going to be one lone person trying to pick you off, unless you're getting 5-man ganked, in which case nothing matters. But it's going to be one lone person trying to pick you off, and chances are they're not going to have dust. It's going to be their
Oh,
support in the back who has dust. Yeah, right? Crazy. Someone doesn't have dust? Wild. Um, yeah, so...
no, I was doing the Storm Spirit. Oh, just
Oh, yeah, he
just
just comes
coming in
in.
and
Yeah.
just just wrecks you.
But that's why you got the AoE stun on, the AoE sounds on Gust. You do that, and then you just walk away, and he's like, fuck. I'll tell you, man. I get like a lot of times I'll just have like 2 points frost arrow, 1 point precision on just fucking max gust. Because I mean, turns out a 6 second silence is really fucking good. Like all of it, you can skill her really anyway, and it's good. But you need at least 2 points in frost arrows. That's for fucking sure. But yeah, she's really mostly good in like a drow comp. And there's a Theorycraft Thursday where I talk about what a drow composition consists of. That's
Yeah,
definitely
no, I listened to that a couple of times.
okay. Yeah, so that's really good. But the main thing is that
The
you
Lance.
yeah, you need like a lancer and then someone to do like the fucking yeah. There's a lot to it. Um, but the main one of the main things is that you need a mid that takes care of your precision aura. At least one other core that's gonna win their lane because of your precision aura. Um, okay, so that's that. Ember Spirit, mid hero. I think he's really bad safe lane. You kind of have to judge whether or not he can win the matchup on your own. There's no real set rule to it. He is a poor man shield mid, so he's good against Mirana and that sort of thing. Um, but his main thing is he can brawl really well in the early mid game, and then he sucks mid late game, and then he does really strong carry late game. His +2 second searing chain thing really fucking good. There's some shit going around right now with like a spell damage build on him, but I'm not gonna worry about that for now. In general, really evasive, really difficult to play at a very high level. But if you can, you feel like the proest motherfucker ever. Just get a drum early, like I go like drum wand and then get phase, and that's really good on him. Yeah, no, drum wand travels. Sorry, not phase. Don't go phase on Ember. Just go travels or nothing. Um, yeah, get that Battle Fury up, and he does a lot of AoE damage. He's really good against any like minion oriented team or illusion oriented team, like any team with a shit ton of creeps or a shit ton of illusions. Ember Spirit Battle Fury, fucking fantastic. Faceless Void, really good as a solo laner. He basically can't lose any 1v1 outside of against like a Sand King or something like that. Um, Great combo potential with Chronosphere and just a really tanky independent carry. And then he with combo potential, which is a great like you can build a team around him, but then also not be too worried about whether or not he does well in his lane. Faceless Void is a very good hero. Gyrocopter, shit ton of AoE damage, and a very good early fighter. If you need someone to fill out your AoE damage from the carry position for the early game, Gyrocopter's your boy. Doesn't do a lot else. Um, Juggernaut, all around carry, a lot weaker than he was last patch just because he can't scale stats anymore and everyone else got way stronger. He's really good against, it's an individual kind of squishy character that doesn't like physical damage that much and can be isolated easily. Like a Juggernaut was the standard counter to Gyro when Gyro was big because you could just Omni Slash him and Gyro couldn't do a lot to say or didn't have a lot to say about it. Lifesteal is pretty similar. Lifesteal can be doing his shit, then he just gets Omni Slash and he just has to sit there and take it. So anyone who's good against or who isn't gonna like just taking a lot of damage they can't say anything about, Juggernaut's great for. He's great in push. He has magic immunity built in. He's more just like a fucking Swiss Army knife, and you just try to see if he fits against what you're going against. Lone Druid, uh,
Sucks.
and that will be the end of our coaching session for Lone Druid. Don't worry about him. Don't worry about it. Like AoE damage, AoE slow, AoE stun, anything that does AoE shit, good against Lone Druid. Minus armor, great against Lone Druid. Nothing works against me if I play Lone Druid, so try whatever you can. You can play him so many. You can play him like two different ways now. Like I can pick Lone Druid, and then you pick all that AoE shit against me, and then I play a Lonely Druid build instead, and I am just like a sniper. And then like, oh shit, turns out Venomancer isn't good against someone who plays like sniper. So don't worry about Lone Druid. You're not gonna run against any good Lone Druid players. Luna, we already kind of talked about. She is the carry that can sit in one position and do her fucking damage. I don't mean one position as like the one role, but like she'll sit in one spot, click the ground, and you will collect a team fight. When I was playing with my really shitty CSL team, college team last year, we had this like 2K guy who insisted on playing core, so I just picked him Luna in a team fight. My only instruction to him would be like press R, click the ground, and don't fucking touch your keyboard, and like Luna can still do her shit. So if there's any team that I think if you listen to the Proudland where I was talking about like what like made me say
Yep.
to Roland that like yeah, so like
Yeah.
just kind of decode that basically if every other carry sucks, at the very least, if the only option you're left with is I'm just gonna sit on the fucking ground and get shit on and like not accomplish anything, Luna's your girl. Medusa is like Luna but tankier and she hates magic or mana burn. Also, she's really good to force disengagement, and she works really well with a drow. She's like Luna in the mid lane and not interesting or fun. Meepo, AoE damage is good against him. Anyone with magic immunity piercing and a ton of damage is good against him. AoE disable, great. Sven is fantastic because you can just Storm Hammer, press ult, BKB, and punch the fuck out of him, then he's dead. Minus anything that helps you zero in on which one you're going to kill, like a Slardar is great. You just amp damage one of them. Everyone knows that's the one we kill. You blink stun on him. Fantastic. That's how you kill Meepo. Also, just hopefully the Meepo's bad because you're low MR. Mirana, ton of AoE damage and a little bit difficult to lock down. She's a mid laner for the most part, but can also support. It's just it's nice to have a counter for Sacred Arrow, be it a Astral Imprisonment or one of the dispels like we talked about earlier. And something to kind of lock her down to make leap not an issue, whether that be like a Slark to pounce her so she can't leap away, or just like hard disable on her. Monkey King, you want a shit ton of armor. Some flying vision would be nice. A tree clearer would be nice. Get the fuck out of his ultimate. Do not be in that ultimate. That is not what you want to do. Get the fuck out of that goddamn ultimate. That is all I can tell you. Literally every one of my 5k pubs still fucking sit in his ultimate and they just die. When I play Monkey King, they just sit in my ultimate and I win every team fight. Get out of his ultimate. You can also purge his Jingu Mastery. You can both purge the stacks on yourself and purge him once he gets 4 attacks off, and he'll lose that, which is incredible.
Ooh.
Um, yeah, that's really good. Diffusal is pretty strong against him. Morphling, weak early and has a ton of single target magic damage. BKB is great against him. Yeah, that's Morphling. And you need silences to kill him. You can't kill him without silences, honestly. And normally AoE silences like a Skywrath mage is really good. But if he just Lincolns the Skywrath as soon as Skywrath presses E, he's just gonna replicate out. So like if you have a Disruptor or a Drow, those are great AoE silences that Lincolns will not touch. He can manta them off, but if you like do an AoE silence and then like stun him or whatever, like it's good to layer CC on Morphling. That way he can't morph and he can't manta. Um, or I mean the best is like black hole and well not black hole but like disruptor because even if he's mantas the silence is still there. Naga Siren, I think you understand Naga Siren. She has illusions and she splits around. You need to shut her down early on, and just not let the game get too out of control. Be wary of using BKB because if she songs after you BKB, it will isolate you and your team will not be able to help. Nyx Assassin, he finds squishy people and he then kills them. He's really good at catching the backline. So if you're a sniper, or a drow or something like that, be wary of the Nyx Assassin. And also Mana Burn, really really good against heavy int heroes. So uh, if you're playing OD or Invoker, consider a BKB because every 4 seconds he will just fucking drop your health to 0 if you have a bunch of mana. Okay, good, half done. This is probably gonna be the last section, by the way. This is going.
Oh, I'm actually surprised you're gonna keep going.
Yeah, no, I'll just finish it out. It's all good. Okay, Phantom Assassin, squishy, minus armor focus. She jumps up in your shit. Um, she needs to be able to get in and out. So if PA jumps on you and you have a way to immediately respond, she will die. The way you need to play PA is literally like a fucking Phantom Assassin. You will go out and then you will go in and you want to get your shit done before they are notice you and are able to react to you. She is probably the most like hero that plays the most like she should based upon her like general aesthetics, and I love her to death. And if you don't use the scythe, you're not cool. Phantom Lancer, ton of illusions. He does very low damage. He needs both tank and a shit ton of damage. You do literally nothing on this hero until you get your defusal, but at the same time you want to farm really well. So like I try to balance. I really do want to get my Yasha just to farm faster, but at the same time I don't do shit without defusal. Vanguard is really good on him. The best health item I think for him now is Abyssal Blade. Like you go Treads, Aquila, Vanguard, Diffusal, and then like Manta, Abyssal. Like that gives you enough health. You don't have to go for a heart, and then you have like a ton of lockdown, and you can just stay in this fight bashing people, and it's really good. Razor, he's a lane dominator mid, good against melee or OD. And you just build a shit ton of move speed on him. You need a bunch of lockdown to deal with Razor because he can just run the fuck away from you, and he's a team fight anchor. And that he's just like tanky and it's really difficult to engage into him. Ricky, he is not a safe laner. He is a like a 4 position roamer, and he will fuck you up if you are trying to jungle, and he will fuck you up if you are anti-mage. Someone messaged me. Who the fuck? It was Skrunk. I love that boy. Shadow Fiend. The counter to Shadow Fiend is a high damage mid hero to go up against him. Shadow Fiend's almost always going to mid, and he has relatively low damage, so you need to pick someone who has high damage to counter him. For me personally, I pick Lone Druid a lot because I have like 80 damage between the 2 units, but also like Monkey King is good. Most melees are decent in that you can always, if you have a Quelling Blade, you can always get your last hit, so he'll never get souls off of a deny. Tiny is also pretty good, although I mean that's just like me in general. Magnus is decent. You just want someone with a lot of damage. Queen of Pain, really good. Just someone with a ton of damage, and then also at least one BKB piercing disable to because he's gonna try to ultimate while he's BKB'd, and then you just want something to disrupt that, whether that be like a swap or a hook shot, anything. Basher is fantastic. I love Lone Druid against him because I have like Basher and Entangle. He just never gets an ulti off. Slark, very dodgy. He's going to try to be in and out of fights and pick off squishy individual targets. It's important to 5-man, it's important to have vision, and it's important to have lockdown. And most important to have lockdown that can't be dark pacted, like Disruptor ulti, Black Hole, a really fast stun that he can't react to, like Dragon Knight's stun, like wait for his Dark Pact to go off, bam, stun him. Something that he can't react to, like Lion blinking in and hexing, something with no cast point like a hex, something like that. Sniper, he snipes. Be worried of shrapnel. It's very cool to have something that can disjoint, like Manta style. On Lone Druid, I used to be able to disjoint whenever I switched forms to like true form and back. So I just like watch my assassinate timer, then it was about to hit. I would just like blah, blah, and then I'd fucking transform and it wouldn't do any damage. So if you have a Manta style, look for assassinate. It's about to hit you, bam, Manta, no damage. Same thing with like Astral on OD or Phase Shift on Puck, that sort of thing. But mostly you just want someone to get in his shit, and as sniper you want, similar to a drought team, you want someone to lance, someone to like go for it and be like, oh, this is where the fight's happening, it's happening up here, and then you can sit back. Spectre, very tanky, not that tanky early, needs a lot of help in lane, but after you get that initial help done, you want to have a very fighty team that's going to be fighting as 4, and then you can haunt in. If in Dota, you never want to have 5 people fighting at a time unless it's like decisive. You want to have maybe 4 people farming at most, but there's going to be free farm in at least one of your lanes almost all the time. And if you're not taking advantage of that, like efficiency is so important right now. And Spectre is great that Spectre can always be taking some of the efficiency or being efficient on the map and then go into a fight immediately. So that's the main thing to worry about on Spectre. Be as efficient as possible. Don't die. Make sure that fights are happening. You're taking advantage of Haunt. TA, really good at the mid lane against, just specifically when she's not countered. Really fucking good against Shadow Fiend. Really great against Monkey King. TA is just really good as long as you don't counter her with a lot of dot damage. And she's very difficult to play though, so don't worry about that too much. But just you need some dot damage against her, and that's really and having armor is good. Terrorblade, very illusion based, very push based. If you have a good amount of AoE magic damage, he's nothing to worry about. And he's afraid of a lot of magic damage. He needs to farm a shit ton. And eventually you're going to get to the point where your illusions can take care of camps yourself or themselves. So the big skill to playing Terrorblade is having a good idea of like when I can just send my illusions to kill camps and when I have to do them myself. And last hitting in lane with an illusion while I do camps with my hero, that sort of thing. And his Q is really good if you're dealing with someone who has like a really strong illusions to see, like let's say like an alchemist who's going to build a radiance. If you press Q, you will get the radiance. If alchemist has an AC and you press Q, the enemy alchemist will be giving you his AC aura because he'll have his illusion. Shit like that is really cool with him. Troll Warlord, one of the best man fighters in the game. You want someone who works off of his battle trance. So like you want an off lane Faceless Void or a mid lane Shadow Fiend or a Tiny, someone who really could make use of the attack speed. He also gives a lot of miss out, so if you're dealing with someone who doesn't want to build a BKB, Troll Warlord is great. Ursa, big man fighter, doesn't deal well with the game going late, gives you free Roche, and is really bad against a team with a lot of control. Like if you're against a Lion, Ursa's not a great pick, but if you're against a team with like Ancient Apparition, Ursa's pretty fucking great. As long as you don't get ultied, because that ulti is really good. I love Ags on Ursa. I love it. And if you're not jungling Ursa, I really recommend getting a few points in Earthshock. Like I get like maybe 1 or 2 in Fury Swipes because it actually doesn't scale that well, and then a couple in Overpower, and then I have like Earthshock maxed. I like Ursa a pretty decent amount, but he's not a great hero to play in pubs. You're always going to do really well, and then you're going to fall off, and it's going to suck because you can't 1v5. Venge Spirit, single target lockdown. It is disjointable though, so be careful of using it against like a life stealer or a jug because they can just press Q as soon as your animation goes off. Good minus armor, good aura, just in general like a very strong support. And Swap is a very interesting spell that can lose you a game if you don't know what you're doing. She can transition into a core pretty well, honestly. So if your team looks like a bunch of idiots and you want to be able to transition while still playing a support, Venge is a great support. She's also pretty basic, which isn't to say there's anything wrong with playing her. She's one of my favorite supports to play, and I play her a ton, honestly. Venomancer, heavy AoE damage, great Blink Dagger canceling ability. I've won so many games on Venomancer, just like doing we're pushing high ground, and I just like force myself forward, and then like place a fucking a Veno ward or a Plague ward, and then I run back, and it just like hits an axe, and he's just like, shit, I just fucking called nothing. So just the blink dagger canceling properties of this hero are unfucking real. And he's great as a 5, really fun. You just force staff yourself in and press R and then die, and you collect a free team fight. And then you respawn faster because you can't have minus 60 seconds if you want as a 5. But I mean the 3 times plague word HP and damage is also really good. Anyway, Venom's great. Just a ton of AoE damage. That's what Venomancer does. Viper, lane dominator. I'm not sure how well he scales now with his talents, but in general, he's really good at pushing. But he's mostly just like a lane dominator for mid. He builds mech and that sort of thing. One interesting thing to note is his Nether Toxin that deals more damage the less HP something has does work on towers. One of the things that makes a pusher is the fact that their unique attack steroid actually works on towers. The reason that PA is so shit on towers is her 2 steroids are crit, doesn't work on towers, and Phantom Strike, you can't Phantom Strike a tower. So PA builds around getting Phantom Strike off, so she has like almost no attack speed. But the thing that she's entirely reliant on for her attack speed doesn't work, so she fucking sucks at hitting towers, which is why Deso is so good. But Viper, like his steroid does work on towers, which is really really cool and unique. That which is one big reason why he's a good pusher. Like he builds mech and he's a steroid that works on towers. He's great. Weaver, very dodgy, very minus armor focused. If it's similar to Slark, if they have lockdown for you, AoE lockdown, it's pretty terrifying. But if you're able to get in and out, find some squishy targets, and you have a good source for minus armor, Weaver is pretty fantastic. Weaver's very item dependent and needs a lot of farm to like come online and actually kill motherfuckers. So you really need to know that it's the right game to pick a Weaver. Okay, all right, home stretch. Ancient Apparition wins you your lanes for free with Chilling Touch. Good with setup for Cold Feet, and mostly good with setup for Ice Blast. And of course, he counters guys who gain their health back a lot, like Alchemist or Life Stealer and that sort of thing. Really good against any Armlet builder. If they build Armlet and you Ice Blast them, they're fucked.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, like specifically on most heroes, like on Life Stealer, if I'm against Ancient Apparition, I just won't build an Armlet. Just not worth it. Bane, single target lockdown, pretty bad hero in general, honestly. Like he sets up Mirana arrows and Kunkka and stuff, but I just got the hiccups all of a sudden. But in general, Bane sucks. He's just not a very good hero. It's very rare that I will pick Bane, although I mean it's fine. But in general, I just don't think Bane is that good. Bat Rider, one of the best heroes, if not the best hero in the game. He can dominate a tri-lane if he gets a little bit of momentum behind him. He can catch any motherfucker out, but in general, he's going to catch a motherfucker out, pull him out, and force a team fight on his terms. Huge vision game with Bat Rider, and a ton of damage over like prolonged fights. And his CC pierces spell immunity, which is huge. Chen, obviously very creep focused. Early pushing is a very big deal on him. Yeah, you against him, you want someone that can deal with creeps. Be that Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor's Cask do stuns for 5 seconds against creeps, which obviously fucks a Chen army up completely. Crystal Maiden's W lasts for like 10 seconds against individual creeps, which is really good. So you just want something like that can just counter creeps. Or has like Keeper of the Light level, like wave damage to wave clearing damage. Crystal Maiden, obviously if you have someone who can benefit off bonus regen, that's good. Don't go too much into it because most heroes, their default builds are very well optimized around giving them as much mana as they need. Maybe they can skip something, but in general, most people are going to be very bad at adapting to having Arcane Aura. So you don't get more than 2, maybe 3 points in it before maxing out your other skills. Frostbite, once you have it maxed, is a 50% uptime spell. And then once you have the level 25 thing, it becomes a 75% uptime spell, which is fucking unreal. And she's pretty good in general. Her ultimate is absurdly strong. You want to get a Glimmer Cape and then get your ulti off, and you'll kill everyone. It's honestly so fucking good. And that's Crystal Maiden. You want to avoid people like Slark and Lifestealer and Juggernaut who can cast something to get out of your Frostbite. Darkseer, good against melee laners that are not named Anti-Mage, and good against people who make good illusions. And one of the keys to picking Darkseer is you need to have ion shell targets on your team, like at least 2. Like if I pick Darkseer, I want a Sand King as one of my supports, or an Earth Spirit, one of those two. Someone who's gonna get up in their shit, and like a Life Stealer or an Ursa as my safe laner. You don't want Darkseer if you don't have anyone good to Ion Shell. Let's see. Dazzle, heal, a lot of minus armor capabilities. I don't think he's that fantastic, but you want someone who really does work well with Shallow Grave. If you can finagle a situation where you get Poison Touch level 1 and get a lot of aggression off that, Dazzle's really good. But just as a purely defensive support, I think there are better options. But if you like Dazzle, you like Dazzle, and you're going to do well. I'm just not a good Dazzle player, in all honesty. Um, Death Prophet, very cooldown reliant push, but she is a very heavy lane dominator if you're against a melee laner. Like Death Prophet will fucking kill an Alchemist. Like Alchemist or Acid Spring, they oh, you can't fight this, you'll die. And you just fucking Spirit Siphon and run next to him, and you have a lot of physical damage. So anyone who doesn't deal well with like if they don't have a lot of burst damage, or they can't get in the middle of your shit, like if they do not have any interest in get, or if there are people who need to get up in your shit but don't have a lot of armor themselves, like Phantom Assassin, all of her physical damage avoidance is from evasion. You cannot evade ghosts. So if PA is against a Death Prophet and PA like blinks on DP and then she yules herself, PA is just going to die in a second. She can't wait that entire duration. Well, she's Yules and she'll just be taking full exorcism damage. So stuff like that, she's Death Prophet is really good against. Disruptor, one of my favorite supports. Static Storm is a very low cooldown AoE teamfight ability. Almost every team needs at least one teamfight spell like that. Otherwise, you have to play fucking perfectly. And man, Static Storm is fucking incredible. I've mentioned several times heroes like Slark or Juggernaut or Life Stealer, just any hero, or Storm, Morphling, anyone who can like get out of most things via their spells. They cannot get out of Static Storm. Even if you Manta, it'll still be there. Static Storm is incredible. And if you have any combo potential at all with it, it's really good. But notably, Disruptor doesn't have any like spammable crowd control. He has no skirmish stun. So if you have someone like a Disruptor takes care of your AoE team fight, you need a Slardar or an Axe or a Sand King in the off lane to give you your spammable like skirmishy stun. Like every team needs some kind of AoE, good reliable like team fight, fucking shock and awe shit. But also you can't have a team without some level of skirmish stun. And skirmish stun is like Lion Earth Spike, Dragon Knight stun, Slardar stun, Sand King stun, those sort of things. Not long cooldown and very spammable. You can use multiple of them in a fight. Okay. Enchantress, good against teams without a lot of early game magic damage. Really bad against teams with a lot of early game magic damage. Doesn't have a lot of armor, so if someone has a way to deliver physical damage not through auto attacks, like a Alchemist or a Monkey King or something like that, Enchantress may be kind of weak. But she's a crazy roamer and will fuck up all of your lanes if she's good. But in general, you don't have to worry about strong Enchantress. Enigma, jungler, incredible pusher. You need long range black BKB piercing disable to deal with the black hole. Like you need it. There's no two ways about it. And good AoE clearance is great for demonic conversion. And if you have anything to dispel yourself, like a Manta style or whatever, Malefice is just worthless. I love Malefice, but if you have a way to deal with it, it doesn't do shit. Invoker, incredible amount of AoE control that is all able to be dispelled by Black King Bart. At no point will he stop you from doing anything. Like he doesn't have a stun anymore in what's that fucking spell? Deafening Blast. But he does have an insane amount of control that will fuck you up. Like if you're in an ice wall without BKB, like game's fucking over. So and he has fucking he has invisibility and shit too, so you need dust. But the main thing is he hates being engaged upon in mid. He is one of the most gank vulnerable mid laners in the fucking game. Just charge him all day on Spirit Breaker, gank him with Bounty Hunter, whatever. He has very shit defensive capabilities early on. He's honestly not that strong anymore, so you probably won't see too much of him. But like you need a BKB against him, and you need True Sight. And beyond that, he shouldn't be too big an issue. Also, of course, when you're dying, walk around. Jakiro, incredible push, incredible AoE damage, decent slow. But yeah, his biggest weakness is just that he's very immobile. So if you have a very mobile team, you'll deal with him well. To counter that, if you're playing Jakiro, you want a team with like good lockdown, team with a really good anchor, so you're not going to be forced to move around a lot. Like Dragon Knight Jakiro is really strong. We played that on Theorycraft Thursday once as a dual lane, and we got stomped, but or rather, our lane got stomped, but we just worked so well together that we eventually just won through entropy, and it was awesome. Um, Keeper of the Light, pretty good combo potential with Chakra Magic. Not as good as it was before. Actually, it'll still that's coming from me with like the level. So I used to play a lot of Keeper of the Light plus X combos with the person I started playing Dota with, and you would just like if you're fighting dual lane versus dual lane, they just like have Coddle just keep spamming Chakra Magic on like Luna or Sven, anyone with a nuke, and then you just keep throwing nukes out, and it's really good. So feel free to do that. It's also good against any very mobile person who relies on mana to kind of like get around and moves around like a lot as their defensive capability. Like a Timbersaw, if you mana leak Timbersaw, he just has to fucking sit there. He can't Timber Chain away. He'll like just stun mid chain. And also a lot of Keeper of the Light has a lot of AoE wave clear. Leshrak, a lot of AoE damage, a good AoE stun. One of the few supports that has a lot of tower pushing capabilities, and he also scales very well. So you want some setup for Lesh, and mostly he's a support at this point, but just like very high magic damage, and can kind of fill the role for okay, I need like an AoE stun on my team and some damage to go with it. And he's also a ranged support, so that's always good. Lich wins you your lane. Always sacrifice the range creep. Has spammable AoE damage. Not that much damage, but good. He's good versus an armor composition. And of course, if you have any setup to keep people in place, Chain Frost is really fucking good. Lena, garbage. Ton of AoE damage, and Laguna Blade is great for knocking off a carry if you get Ags on her, but in general, pretty squishy and very vulnerable. Lion, some of the best lockdown you can get on a support, if not the best in terms of like skirmishy disables. Fairly mana independent, although mana boots are still pretty core on him in all honesty. If you don't go mana boots, you have to go like Tranquil's Wand, and then like a fucking Null Talisman or something to have enough mana to use your level 2 ultimate that costs fucking 420 mana and just blazes through everything you have. He's really good, but a little bit squishy. And you almost always want to take the 45 damage at level 10. Well, that's probably debatable, highly debatable. You want more damage than he has, but 10 may be a little bit too late for that to be good. Maybe check the stats on that one and don't trust me. Let's see here. Nature's Prophet. He move around. He teleport to gank, and he's probably just gonna jungle in every game you see him. Stop him in the. It's kind of hard to stop him in the jungle because he's not a low health jungler. Maybe just disrupt him, but as much time you spend disrupting him, it's going to be wasting your own time too. You need some AoE clear for him, and always, whenever you're engaging against a prophet, always assume every 2v2 can turn into a 3v2 at the drop of a hat, so you always need an ability to get out of there. Don't ditch your Quelling Blade. Necrophos, he's really good at laning now. It's good to have. You want some strong burst. You don't want a long drawn out fight where he could keep spamming Death Pulse. And you want a Glimmer Cape on at least someone against him. If you Glimmer Cape someone as soon as they get Reaper Scythed, you have a second and a half to do it, and it'll drop the damage that they take by Reaper Scythe significantly, and pretty much never kill them. If you're Glimmer Caped while they Reaper Scythe, you will pretty much just not die. And as long as you don't die to the Reaper Scythe, even if you die afterwards, it's fine. You're at least not going to get dead for another 30 seconds. Ogre, he can counter any lane harass. He was brought into the meta against Riki and Bounty Hunter. You just plant an Ogre mid. Riki, Bounty Hunter can't do shit to him. Anytime they pop up, he'll just ignite, and they can't, like, if he's roaming around, they can't catch him out isolated and alone. I'm sure you've played like a lion, and then you're just like walking from lane to lane. Oh shit, Ricky's here. I'm Orb Venomed. I can't do shit. I just have to die. Ogre doesn't give a fuck about that. And Bloodlust is like the best fucking spell in the game. So that's Ogre. It's tanky support. If you have a squishy support and you need a tanky support, Ogre. Oracle, I don't think you need to worry about Oracle. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna go past that one. OD, ton of damage as the fight goes on. You need a bunch of burst damage. You want int heroes against OD. The more less int you have, the more damage his ultimate does. OD is mostly a hero that pretty much he's good against everything and bad against most things equally. Like Nyx is good against him, sure. if you are playing Nyx against him, one cool way to stun him, if he astrals a creep, just press spiked carapace, and then as soon as the astral ends, it's going to be AoE damage. It's always going to hit your spiked carapace, so it's a guaranteed way to stun out an OD. And yeah, just kill that motherfucker. He hates building MKB and even Bloodthorn and Silver Edge, so someone like Phantom Assassin or building a Butterfly against him are always good. Um, as an OD, you want to, for the most part, what I like to do is I just get my Hurricane Pike and then like Blink Dagger. I just love the mobility. And you just, even if you don't like Blink Dagger, you just get the Hurricane Pike, then get like an Atos or something and go to town. BKB is very core on this hero. Puck, you need reliable lockdown that can't be reacted to, like Disruptor ulti, Black Hole, just shit like that. Instant cast, like Lion Hex, that sort of thing. You really just need to lock this motherfucker down. BKB is pretty core. Mantis Style's great against him. Pugna will push your towers and not do a lot else. Pugna, you also need interrupts. That way he can't just spam life drain the whole time. He's like a shitty crushed up skull dickhorn gassy baby. Like he's not that big a fucking threat. Queen of Pain, she's fantastic. Love playing her right now. But all you really need is some kind of showstopper lockdown. Like if she blinks in and Ogre Magi just fire blasts her, she's done. She's fucking done. So as long as you have a little bit of hard disable, Queen of Pain doesn't do shit. And you want to not be too squishy against her. Rubik, cover your spells. Rubik is probably really good early, like in the lower meta because you're going to be against Pudges who don't rot after they cast a hook every single time. You're going to be against Tides who Ravage and they don't hit the Rubik and the Rubik steals Ravage. In general, against Rubik, you just need to make sure your spells aren't taken and you need to be aware that he can reposition you. If he catches you out in a stun, he will pull you back and you will not be where you thought was safe. Shadow Demon, watch out for those Shadow Poison stacks. Those are really fucking good. Playing him is pretty hard. I wouldn't really recommend it until you feel a lot more comfortable with the game. But having a decent counter to illusions is always nice to have up your sleeve against him. Also notable, Warlock. If they disrupt someone and then you Fatal Bonds right on top of their disruption as soon as it pops, you can deal a shit ton of damage to them. Shadow Shaman positioning is very important. He has great lockdown, but in order to use his shackles, he needs to put himself at risk right next to the person he's trying to shackle, which is typically going to be someone strong. So if Shackles gets interrupted, he will just get fucking killed by the person he was CCing. So you need to have like a really strong teamfight presence with him. Although he does have really strong solo kill potential with Mass Serpent Ward. So he's actually like a really good a really good support to play by yourself, especially because he can take objectives by himself. Like if you're dealing with, oh man, my team never fucking pushes, I just want to take a goddamn tower. Like Shadow Shaman is your goddamn hero to play. Skrunk gained a shit ton of MMR just spamming Shadow Shaman when he was really good, and he would just like basically every minute or every 2 minutes drop a different tower with a Mass Serpent Ward, and it was hilarious. Silencer needs some team fight coordination for Global Silence to be good because he's really based around that as a support. He does an obscene amount of damage. If a game is going to be very, very fighty, Silencer is honestly really good to take if it looks like you have early game advantage because you can just get a shit ton of int early on. I've played games where Silencer have like plus 20 int early game, and it's just like, well, that's the game. Silencer's just going to kill everyone. He scales pretty well. He has 3 agi gain, which we discussed earlier. But he doesn't have any like strong lockdown or any real escape for himself. So be really wary of people like Clockwork who can just get all up in your shit. Yes, you can Global Silence as soon as it's like a big hard commit like a Clockwork or something like that, but if you get like hook shotted and then silenced or whatever, like it can be pretty rough. Skywrath Mage, really good against people who take a lot of magic damage and don't have a great or a lot of their defensive mechanisms are based upon casting spells. He's really good against Timbersaw early game. Like Timbersaw wants to go and do all that shit to you. You just Ancient Seal him and drop some Arcane Bolts. He doesn't gain any reactive armor stacks from spells, only from physical attacks. So Skywrath spams or Arcane Bolt and he just fucking dies. He's really good with setup as well, like Clockwork, and then you Skywrath ulti on top of it. Legion Commander duel, Skywrath ulti on top of it. Faces Void, Skywrath ulti, like you can, it's pretty good. But he's a really, really strong lane secure. This is one of the heroes that Stan King likes to play in solo when he's much better than the other players. So if you feel a superiority complex, Skywrath may be for you. Um, Storm Spirit, in and out. You need a hard, reliable lockdown, preferably something like Storm Spirit, where you can just get him for a long time and he can't do shit. Any hero that has a lot of evasion built in, like and mobility, like Phantom Assassin. I mean, obviously, Anti Mage is the counter to Storm Spirit, but Phantom Assassin is my personal counter because that's the only carry that can actually keep up with him. And also, he keeps trying to do overcharges, but he misses every single or overload, but he misses every single attack. So PA is really good against him, at least until he gets Bloodthorn, and then once he does, I have a Manta Style, so he spent all his money on that, and I have a Manta Style, so whatever. Um, Techies is a piece of shit. Tinker is you need flying vision against him. You need good warding, and more than anything, you just need to fucking gank him early. I hate Tinker. He's really fucking good. You need a BKB hero. Juggernaut is absurdly good against Tinker. Juggernaut can put down like healing ward and then press Q and then push into like a 5-stack March of the Machines, and then as you're getting out, your healing ward will keep you stacked up. But Juggernaut is the best carry in the world to play against Tinker, in my opinion, especially if you're just trying to end the game. Um, Visage. AoE damage is really good against his birds now. You want a lot of instances of damage to, not instances, because if it's really low, he won't lose any grave keeper's cloak. But you want someone with a lot of like attack speed, like an anti mage will just bum 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 attacks out. Grave keepers is gone. You don't want like a monkey king who's like 1 attack, 2 attack, 3 attack, 4 attack. Okay, now I can do a business. Like that was way too long. Visage is already gone. Okay, Warlock. You want someone who can get up in his shit and make him and, like take advantage of the fact that he has no disables that don't put him at risk. So like if an axe gets in his face or a spear breaker, like Warlock can't do anything besides drop a spaghetti on the ground and fucking drop a fucking chaotic offering on you, which is like, oh, he just uses chaotic offering on a solo spear breaker. Great, leave. Um, Windrunner, she's pretty good. She's one of the mids that I'm actually good at. You want someone who's not too adverse to building a MKB as a physical damage core. You just want to be generally tanky. Lincoln Sphere is good. If you have one of those dispel heroes like Abaddon or someone just to hide. Like if, let's say you get shackle shotted, you want and the way she's gonna kill you, she's gonna shackle shot you, and then she's gonna ulti, right? So if you Astral Imprison whoever got shackle shotted, or if you Legion Commander dispel anyone who got shackle shotted, that's really good. So she's if you have anything that kind of disrupts, like she needs to do a little setup for all her shit. So if you have a lot of like disruptive play going on, it's very hard to be a windrunner. Um, and she's good with people who can slow down the team fight for you, so you can position. Wyvern is really good against physical damage cores. Wyvern is one of the only counters to anti-mage that I've ever seen, or not anti-mage, to Sven that I've ever seen actually work. Sven you counter with like a play style, not specific heroes. But Wyvern and Clockwork are some of the two specific heroes that are actually good against Sven, like on a one-on-one basis. But Wyvern is also the best Meepo counter in the game, believe it or not. Yeah, she's really fucking good. Hey, I have a Wyvern set that I can equip. Great. Man, I like this hero. But yeah, if you fucking Winter's Curse on Meepo and his cloud of Meepos, they just all kill one of them, and it's fucking hilarious. Witch Doctor, you need which okay the worst thing is when anyone calls paralyzing Casca stun. I just want to fucking murder them. I'm like, yo, our team needs a stun. Like, oh, pick Witch Doctor. Like, are you fucking stupid? I don't mean we need 1 second of lockdown. I mean we need fucking like an earth spike into a hex to kill that storm spirit. Like, no fucking storm spirit was ever killed because they got stunned for 1 fucking second by Cask. Anyway, yeah, so Cask is good against like creeps and that sort of thing, and it's really good in like a 3-on-3 engagement. Like if your tri lane is gonna get dual land, Cask is really good. He's got sustain and he has really good physical damage through Death Ward, so he works really well with like anyone who can slow the team fight down, like a Faceless Void or something, and kind of hold people in place for Death Ward. Zeus, heavy magic damage, no defensive capabilities whatsoever. Uh, yeah, that's Zeus. He's just very heavy magic damage. Okay, my throat is like, or not my throat, my voice is like gone. My jaw hurts. Are we good?
Yeah, that was awesome, dude.
Okay, sweet. All right. Okay, great. Anyway, yes. Okay, cool. So is that good for now?
Yeah, that's awesome.